My husband was cheating, so I took her husband to the same restaurant and sat next to them. The candlelight flickers softly across the wine glass, and for a moment I'm more mesmerized by the way the red liquid clings to the rim than by anything my husband is saying. We're at Belladonna's, the restaurant we always went to for special occasions, anniversaries, promotions, even the night we found out we were pregnant. Now it's just a random Thursday, and I'm staring at his wine glass, wondering why his look's different. I'm 36 years old. My name is Rachel, and I live just outside Richmond, Virginia. It's the kind of place where neighbors still borrow sugar, where the baristas know your order, and where secrets feel too big to survive. And yet mine had been growing like ivy, tightening around my ribs with each passing week. He's laughing now, James, my husband. But it's that tight-lipped, distracted kind of laugh. The one you fake when you're thinking about something or someone else. I watch as he glances down at his phone, taps the screen, and slips it into his lap like I wouldn't notice. He used to smile at me across the table. Tonight he doesn't meet my eyes once. I pretend not to notice. I stir my pasta slowly and nod as he talks about some work dinner next week. Another important client, another night I'll spend alone in a house that's beginning to feel unfamiliar. I glance at his wine again. It's not the same glass as mine. Mine has a thick stem. His is thinner, more delicate. A sommelier's pour. A private selection. Something shifts in me. He's not just hiding something. He's sharing something with someone else. On the ride home, I grip my purse too tightly and stare out the window. He doesn't ask what's wrong. He never does anymore. The radio plays soft jazz, and I wonder if she likes jazz. I wonder if she sat where I sat. If she drank from that same type of wine glass. That night after he's fallen asleep, I walk barefoot down the hallway, each floorboard creaking like an accusation. I step into his office. His laptop's open browser minimized work files pulled up like camouflage. But I know James. I know how he clears his history. I know how he never saves passwords. I also know I'm smarter than he thinks. That's the moment, the exact second my quiet sadness begins to shape itself into something else. Not rage, not even revenge, just the kind of focus a woman gets when she's been pushed too far. When her heart breaks clean through the middle, but she refuses to let it collapse, because that wine glass didn't match, and neither does the story he's trying to sell me. If you were in my shoes, would you say something? Or would you wait just long enough to watch it all unfold? The glow from the laptop casts soft light across the dark office. I sit cross-legged in James's desk chair, my fingers hovering just above the keyboard. For a moment I stare at the login screen. My heart thuds. It's not adrenaline, it's something colder, sharper. I try his go-to password, Steelers 1984. Incorrect. Then I remember it changed last year after the data breach at his firm. He told me in passing over eggs and burnt toast that he'd started using phrases only he could remember. I hadn't thought much of it then. Now it's all I can think about. I try again, Sunset with You. It was the name of our first dance song. Success. The screen opens like a door that's been locked for years. I inhale sharply, eyes scanning files tabs, recent activity. Most of it is boring budget spreadsheets, client notes, travel receipts. But one folder catches my attention. Personal. I click. Inside screenshots. 2 tickets to a spa retreat in Asheville. A dinner reservation. Photos from a hotel room. I can see his hand in the frame in one of them. And her, Brielle. The woman smiling at the camera wrapped in a robe sipping wine is Brielle Moore. The PTA mom. The one who always brings gluten-free cookies to bake sales. The one who complimented my dress at the school fundraiser last spring. The one who asked if I wanted to carpool for the 4th grade field trip. I blink hard. I see text message screenshots next. Messages he must have saved. Or she did. I can't tell. But the words burn the same. Brielle. I wish I could wake up next to you every morning. James. Soon. Just give it time. Brielle. Does she suspect? James. Not a clue. Not a clue. I push the chair back. The screen stays on, taunting me. The woman I'd invited into my house for coffee, the woman who played with my daughter on our porch swing, she's been sleeping with my husband. It's not just betrayal, it's humiliation. Suddenly I remember that afternoon when Brielle dropped off cupcakes and stayed longer than she should have. James had just gotten home from work. He laughed too easily. She touched his arm too long. I had chalked it up to being neighborly. Foolish, naive me. I go to bed that night without a word. He stirs when I slide under the blanket, mumbling something about a late meeting tomorrow. I stare at the ceiling. I'm not crying. Not tonight. The tears dried up somewhere between the screenshots and the realization that I'd been the one comforting her when she was the one tearing my life apart. The next day I watch them. I follow James's location through the app we installed to keep each other safe. He's not at work. He's at the Maple, a boutique hotel near the city park. I don't confront him. I don't scream. Instead, I pull out my journal. I write every detail down, every date, every reservation, every hotel charge on our joint account. Every moment he forgot to cover his tracks. I collect receipts like a woman collecting puzzle pieces, not to frame him in court, but to build a story. My story. Because someday he'll try to lie, and I'll be ready. I wait in silence. I make dinners. I tuck our daughter into bed. I kiss his cheek when he leaves the house, and I pretend not to notice when he checks the mirror twice before walking out the door. He thinks he's winning, but I'm not the woman I was 2 weeks ago. And soon neither is Brielle. Have you ever held a truth so heavy you could feel it pressing into your spine every time you smiled? Her name is Brielle Moore. I used to think it was a beautiful name. Brielle was the kind of woman who always seemed to glow even at 8 a.m. drop-off in yoga pants and no makeup. She had that effortless charm, never too loud, never too much. She spoke in soft tones, used phrases like, "Oh, you're such a good mom," and brought lavender-scented hand soap to PTA meetings just in case. She was the one who stayed late to clean up after events and always offered rides to other parents' kids, including mine. That realization hits harder than anything else. She sat in my car. She waved at my daughter. She ate my lasagna. And all that time she was sleeping with my husband. The timeline forms in my head with chilling clarity. The school gala last fall. The parent-teacher mixer. That charity auction in December. Every smile she gave me was a lie. Every kind gesture was a distraction. She was close enough to hug me and still didn't flinch while stabbing me in the back. I can't tell if I'm angrier at James for betraying me or at myself for letting her in. Brielle has a husband. His name is Alan. I met him once briefly at a school talent show. Tall, quiet, handsome, in a clean-cut way. He had that kind of steadiness that made you feel like the earth wouldn't shake under you. I remember thinking they looked like the perfect couple, a match set. Of course I did. That's what liars look like when they've practiced long enough, polished, composed, untouchable. But I don't believe in perfect anymore. I sit in my car one day, parked across from Brielle's house, and I watch her come outside. She's in her robe taking out the trash like nothing is wrong with the world. She pauses to pet her golden retriever. The picture of domestic bliss. I imagine walking up to her door, ringing the bell, telling her that I know everything, but it's not time. Not yet. Because I don't want her to run. I want her to sit with what she's done. To look me in the eyes one day and realize I knew and I played along. And then, there's Alan. He deserves to know. But how do you walk into someone's life and drop a bomb like that? How do you say, your wife's been cheating with mine, and not watch their entire world collapse? The thought of it makes my stomach twist. Still, I can't let her win. Not without seeing the look on her face when she realizes her secret isn't safe anymore. So I do something I never thought I would. I go through James's phone again. This time I look for him. I find a group photo school fundraiser back in October. James, Brielle, me, and Alan. I crop the picture, upload it to a reverse image search, and find Alan's LinkedIn. From there, it takes 2 clicks to find his company page. And just like that, I have his email. I stare at the blank message screen for what feels like forever. What do you even say to a man whose wife is cheating with yours? My fingers move before I can second-guess myself. Subject: something you deserve to know. Alan, we've only met once, but I believe we share something important. I don't want to say this over email. Please meet me for coffee. I promise I'm not crazy. But I think our spouses are. I leave my number. I don't know if he'll respond. Maybe he'll think I'm a scammer. Maybe he's already suspicious. But now the message is out there. A spark. A match waiting to be lit. That night I sit beside James on the couch while he watches a movie. I fold laundry. He drapes an arm around me absent-mindedly like muscle memory. I let him. I even rest my head on his shoulder for a moment, because I know what's coming, because I'm not ready to burn down the house yet, but I am stacking the kindling. Have you ever smiled at someone while planning the moment they'll finally feel the pain they caused? It happens on a Tuesday. Rain whispers against the coffee shop window as I stir cream into my cup, watching it swirl like smoke in water. I'm seated at a small corner table near the back, tucked away from the door, but with a clear view of it. My heart is tapping out a nervous rhythm I can't seem to slow. I keep glancing at the clock above the register 10 minutes past noon. Maybe he's not coming. Maybe Alan decided it was a prank. Or maybe Brielle got to him first. Then the bell above the door jingles. He walks in dark gray coat, slight frown, cautious eyes scanning the room. He spots me. Our eyes meet. For a second, neither of us moves. Then he walks over. "Rachel, right?" he says. I nod. "Alan, thank you for coming." He sits across from me. No handshake. Just silence. An almost sacred stillness, like we're both holding something fragile and ugly between us. "I don't want to waste your time," I say quietly, pushing my phone across the table. The screen lights up one of the screenshots. Brielle in a hotel mirror. James's reflection in the background. Alan stares at it, and the world goes quiet. No gasps, no swearing, no denial. Just the slow, invisible shattering of a man realizing his life has been a lie. He doesn't touch the phone, just studies it. Then finally, how long? I'm not sure exactly. Months, maybe more. I started noticing things. Then I found everything. His jaw tenses. He blinks, and for a second, I see it, the ache. The devastation that comes when betrayal arrives quietly and leaves you in ruins. A mirror of my own face just weeks ago. They used our names, I whisper. When they checked into hotels, they pretended to be us. Alan's eyes snap to mine. "You're serious?" I nod. "I have the receipts, photos, texts, dates." He leans back in his chair like the weight of the truth has finally settled on his chest. I knew something was wrong. I just didn't want to believe it. God. She kissed me goodbye this morning. I don't speak. There's nothing I could say that wouldn't make it worse. He takes a deep breath, rubs his face with both hands. Then after a pause, he looks up at me again. "Why tell me now?" I swallow hard, because we're the ones left holding the damage, and we didn't deserve this. Alan stares at the table for a moment. Then a short, bitter laugh escapes him. "Do you know where they're meeting next?" I hesitate. "Thursday night. Belladonna's." He told me it was a work dinner. His mouth twitches. Not quite a smile. Not quite rage. "You want to confront them." I don't want to scream. I don't want to throw a drink. I just want them to see that we know. That the game is over. That we're not the fools they thought we were. He nods slowly. "I can be at that restaurant," he says. "And so can you." That's the moment it begins. Not a plan. Not revenge. A reckoning. We sit in silence for a few more minutes. Then he stands and slides my phone back toward me. "I'll see you Thursday," he says. As he walks out, I feel something I haven't in weeks control. That night, I lie in bed next to James, listening to him breathe. I turn my face to the wall and imagine the way his expression will fall apart when he sees me at Belladonna's, sitting next to the man his mistress promised forever to. No more guessing, no more pretending. Soon they'll know that we know, and I hope the silence hits them just as hard. If someone shattered your life piece by piece, would you give them the chance to explain, or would you let the silence speak louder? I used to think the PTA meetings were harmless, a place to discuss book fairs and bake sales. A room full of smiles and side eyes, where moms vied for approval through gluten-free banana bread and themed cupcakes. It all felt so innocent. Too innocent in hindsight. Now every glance feels like a memory. I missed every compliment from Brielle, a mocking echo. I replay conversations in my head, digging through them like crime scenes. Who else knew? Who else saw it and said nothing? The next meeting is on a Wednesday evening in the elementary school library. I sit in my usual spot, second row from the back, close enough to hear, far enough to be forgotten. Brielle walks in. 10 minutes late, radiant, as always, flushed cheeks, glossy hair, that effortless charm she never seems to leave at home. She smiles at the room. She smiles at me. And I smile back. Because now I know. She sits across from me diagonally. When our eyes meet, she holds my gaze for just a beat too long. I wonder if she suspects. If James has gotten sloppy. If she can sense that her perfect little world is about to come undone. The meeting drones on something about fundraising for new playground equipment. But I'm not listening. I'm watching. Studying. There's a moment when her phone lights up. Her hand reaches into her bag so quickly it's like a reflex. She checks it, bites her lip to hide a smile, and tucks it away again. My stomach turns. I don't need to see the name. I know who it is. James. The realization sits heavy in my chest, but I push it down. Let her have her little smile. It's the last one she'll wear without consequence. After the meeting, she approaches me. Rachel, you've been quiet lately. Everything okay? Her voice is syrupy. Her tone just a shade too curious. I force a nod. Just busy. You know how it is. Her eyes search mine. Well, we should catch up sometime. I miss our talks. I let a slow smile spread across my face. You're right. We really should. I don't blink. Neither does she. The air between us is like glass clear but on the edge of shattering. She leaves and I sit alone in the empty library for a moment longer, heart pounding like I just ran a race. My hands are trembling, not with fear, but with the pressure of holding in every word I wanted to scream. Every truth I wanted to spit in her face. But I didn't. Because Thursday is coming. Because I want her to walk into that restaurant thinking her secret is still safe. I want her to feel comfortable, secure, loved. I want her to take that first sip of wine before the blood drains from her face. Later that night, I text Alan. She's getting nervous. I think she feels something coming. He replies within minutes, let her. We don't owe them the truth in whispers. We'll show them in person. I stare at the message, then at the empty spot beside me on the couch where James should be. He said he had a meeting. Late again. Said not to wait up. So I don't. Instead, I pull out the photo album from the cabinet below the television. Our wedding day. Our daughter's first steps. Family vacations. Smiles that look so real on paper and feel so rotten now. I wonder what lies Brielle's been telling Alan. I wonder if she's ever looked him in the eyes and said, I love you, just to follow it with another lie. I wonder how many people sit in these PTA meetings with lives rotting quietly beneath the surface. So many women live inside betrayal and still show up with matching hair bows and labeled snack bags. So many of us learn how to cry in silence and laugh in public just to survive. But I'm done surviving. I'm planning. And every day that passes is a thread pulling the trap tighter. What would you do if the person you smiled with across a table was the same one who stole your life in whispers in secret hotel rooms? Would you smile back? Or would you let the silence carry the scream Alan calls me the next morning? His voice is lower than before, calmer, but laced with something I recognize: exhaustion. The kind that sits in your bones and makes the air feel heavier than it is. I checked her phone. He says, no greeting, no hesitation. She deleted most of the messages. But I found one. It was still on her smartwatch. She forgot to erase it there. I hold the phone tighter. What did it say? She told him she'd wear the red dress. Said he liked it because it made her look easy to unwrap. The bile rises in my throat before I can stop it. I squeeze my eyes shut. I'm sorry, I whisper. And I mean it. I wouldn't wish this pain on anyone, not even him. But it's a strange comfort to know I'm not the only one bleeding from this. He pauses, his voice cracking slightly. I feel like a joke. I've been sleeping next to a stranger. I know the feeling. I say softer now. It's like waking up in someone else's life. There's a long silence between us. And in that silence, something solidifies. This isn't just about confrontation anymore. It's about truth. About reclaiming our dignity in front of the very people who thought we'd never figure it out. Thursday, Alan says finally. We still doing it? Yes, I say, more than ever. That night I watch James as he packs a bag, just a gym duffel, but I know it's not for the gym. I ask him where he's going. He says team dinner, and then offers a kiss on the cheek, like he's earned it. I turn my head, let it land on air. Later I text Alan. He packed a bag. It's happening. Alan mine too. She shaved her legs and used perfume. It's her I'm going to cheat starter kit. I laugh out loud, real bitter and amused all at once. It's strange how betrayal makes strangers feel like allies, like soldiers in the same ugly war. The next day I take a drive. Not to clear my head, there's nothing clear in me right now, but to prepare. I end up at the little boutique near downtown, the one I haven't visited in years. The owner still remembers me. Date night, she asks, pulling a dress from the rack. I pause. Something like that. It's not revenge I want. It's restoration. I try on a sleek black dress that clings to me in all the right places. Nothing flashy, just quiet, confident elegance. A neckline that dares you to underestimate me. A slit that whispers, "You don't know me anymore." I stare at myself in the mirror. This isn't the version of me James cheated on. This is the woman who's going to walk into his lie and burn it down with a look. When I get home, I hide the dress in the back of the closet. Tomorrow it will come out like a secret I've been saving, like a final card I've been waiting to play. That night our daughter is at my sister's house. James thinks it's because I need a me night. He doesn't know I've already written a letter to him sealed in an envelope placed in my drawer next to my wedding ring. It's not cruel. It's not angry. It just tells the truth. By the time he reads it, the truth will already be out. I wonder what Brielle will wear. I wonder how she'll fix her hair. I wonder if she'll touch his hand across the table the way she once touched mine after a PTA meeting like we were friends. I wonder how long it will take for her smile to fade when she sees me sitting across from her with her husband beside me. Do you believe there's dignity in silence? Or does the truth deserve to be spoken loud, especially when it's been hidden in the shadows for so long? I don't remember sleeping. Just the buzz of my mind, tireless, focused, as if every corner of it is busy stitching a dress made of closure. One final act woven out of months of lies, pain, and quiet endurance. By morning I've made my list. The plan isn't theatrical. There will be no screaming, no wine thrown across a table. I'm not a woman on a soap opera. I'm a wife, a mother, a woman who has been holding a burning truth in her chest, and tomorrow I'll finally set it down. I meet Alan again, this time in the parking lot of a home improvement store. Safe, neutral, unremarkable to anyone watching. He leans against his car with a coffee in one hand and pain in his eyes. But there's something new in him too, a sharpness. Like a blade that's just been forged. You still sure about this, he asks. I've never been more sure of anything. We talk details, timing, seating, who walks in first. We don't rehearse lines we won't need any. The silence will say more than words ever could. They're meeting at Belladonna's at 7, I say. James made the reservation under his name. I confirmed it. Alan nods. Mine too. She even asked if I liked her red heels. I told her she should wear them. Said they made her legs look long. We both laughed too hard, too bitter, too real. We're not two scorned spouses anymore. We're co-authors of an ending they never saw coming. I'll get there first, I say. You walk in a few minutes later. They'll already be seated. Perfect. Alan takes a sip of coffee and exhales through his nose. And then we sit at the next table, right beside them. We'll let the moment breathe. Let it live in the raw awkwardness of their panic. Let their faces contort as realization creeps in. Let their betrayal stretch out in the open where it belongs. And when the server comes, we'll order wine, toast even, not to them, to truth, to finally being free of their lies. You sure you're ready to see it? Alan asks. Them, together? I don't answer immediately. Am I ready? To see James look at her the way he once looked at me. To see his fingers brush the hand of the woman who shattered my home. To feel my stomach twist when they laugh, thinking they're still safe. No, I'm not ready. But I will be. By tomorrow night, I will be. Let them feel what it's like to be watched, I say. Let them feel what it's like to be exposed. Not punished. Just seen. Alan watches me for a long moment. Then he nods. You know, I thought I'd be angrier. But it's something else. I don't want to destroy her. I just want her to know I'm not stupid. I nod. Because I understand that feeling in my bones. We don't want revenge. We want recognition. To be looked in the eye by the people who broke us and see shame there. See discomfort. See for the first time consequences. That night I shower. I blow out my hair, slowly, methodically, curling each strand like I'm wrapping a ribbon on a gift. I lay out the dress across the bed and run my fingers along the fabric. It's quiet in the house. James is in the garage working on something for the office. I don't ask. I no longer want to know the lies. Instead, I sit at my vanity and write a note to myself. Just a single line. You are not the woman he left. You are the woman who survived it. I pin it to the inside of my purse. Tomorrow I'll read it one last time before walking into that restaurant with my head high. Because this isn't about catching them. It's about reclaiming myself in the very place they thought I'd never dare to show up. Have you ever wanted to let someone know, not with rage or violence, but just your presence, that you saw it all and still chose to rise? Belladonna's smells the same. Crisp linen garlic, a hint of rosemary, and roasted something wafting from the kitchen. A piano plays softly from a corner of the dining room, just loud enough to soothe the nerves, but not cover up conversation. It's warm inside, dim and romantic, exactly the kind of place you take someone you're not supposed to be with. The maitre d' greets me with a polished smile. Reservation. I nod. Yes. Under Moore. I let her name fall from my lips like a stone into a still lake. He scans the list. Right this way. We walk past couples leaning into each other, wine glasses raised in private celebration. My heels tap softly against the floor, steady as a heartbeat. Then I see them. Table 14. Corner seat. Intimate. She's already seated, her red dress glowing under the golden light like a warning. Her legs are crossed, and she's smiling, brows arched flirtatiously. James is standing just about to take his seat. He laughs at something she says, and reaches out to tuck a strand of hair behind her ear. I don't flinch. Instead, I follow the host past them, one table 2, and stop at table 16, right beside them. Close enough that I could reach out and clink my glass to theirs. James doesn't notice me yet. Neither does Brielle. The maitre d' sets down one menu. Your guest. He'll be here in just a moment. I sit. I keep my coat on. Let the moment breathe. I look around the room as if nothing is extraordinary. But my blood is pounding. Not from rage. Not even from pain. Just the delicious tension of inevitability. Then Alan walks in. Dark suit, calm expression, no hesitation. He sees them immediately. He doesn't break stride. Just walks to my table, leans in close, and kisses my cheek like a man who has kissed me 100 times before. I smile. Their heads turn. At first it's casual. A glance at the new couple settling beside them. Then James's eyes widen. He freezes. He's halfway to his seat, stuck between sitting and standing, caught in the worst moment of his life when past and present collide without warning. Brielle turns, following his gaze, expecting to see something amusing. What she sees instead is me and Alan, together. Her mouth parts just slightly. Her hand clenches the napkin in her lap. I look right at her and smile like I've never known betrayal. Like I'm not the woman she thought she'd beaten. Like I belong here more than she ever did. Good evening, I say. James finds his voice first. Rachel, what are you doing here? Having dinner, I say sweetly. What a coincidence. Alan takes his seat beside me, unfolding his napkin with slow precision. Didn't expect to see you two here, he says, his voice a perfect blade of politeness. Brielle's color drains. She glances at James, then back at me, then to the floor. She's unraveling. James starts to speak again, but I raise my hand. Don't I say softly? Let's enjoy the evening. Our server appears as if summoned by the universe itself. Welcome. Can I get you started with a bottle of wine? Alan looks at me. Red. I nod. He smiles at the server. Your best Pinot Noir, please. The server doesn't blink at the tension. Maybe he's used to scenes like this. Maybe he doesn't care. The wine arrives moments later. It's poured without a word. Alan raises his glass to me. To new beginnings. I lift mine. And perfect endings. We clink. Across from us, James stares. His jaw is tight. His eyes search mine for something, an explanation, a trace of the wife who once loved him. But she's not here. She's long gone. I sip slowly. I taste the wine. I let it coat my tongue. I lean back in my chair and smile. Because for the first time in a long time, I'm not the one who looks away. If you could sit beside the very people who broke you and meet their gaze without a flicker of shame, would you? Or would you rise like I did and let your silence deliver the final blow? The dress was chosen for a reason. Black elegant, understated but commanding. The kind of dress that doesn't shout but holds the room in stillness. The kind of dress that makes a man hesitate before lying. And a woman pause before pretending. Brielle can't stop glancing at it. Her red dress, the one meant to seduce, now looks loud juvenile. Like she overdressed for a funeral and forgot she was the one being buried. Alan sits beside me with the kind of posture that only comes from clarity. He isn't seething. He isn't shaking. He's done. And done people are the most dangerous kind because they have nothing left to lose. James hasn't touched his drink. Is this some kind of game to you? He says under his breath, leaning just enough that his voice stays contained. I smile. You'd know more about games than I would. He opens his mouth again but stops. I can see the panic flicker in his eyes. Not fear of what he's done, but fear of how easily I dismantled the stage he thought was hidden. Brielle finally finds her voice. Alan, can we talk? Alan doesn't look at her. He's buttering a piece of bread calm as ever. I don't think there's much left to say, he replies without raising his eyes. She pales. You went through my phone? No. You left it unlocked, he says, finally meeting her gaze. And full of things I'll never be able to unsee. I sip my wine. I don't need to say a word. Their unraveling is the meal. The wine is just the garnish. James looks at me again. We can fix this. Let's talk privately. I cock my head. You mean like you and Brielle did at the Maple Hotel room 206? His face blanches. I nod slowly. Yes, James. I've known for a while. And now so does Alan. The restaurant buzzes around us unaware. Or pretending not to be. A server refills our water. A couple at the next table laughs over dessert. Life goes on. And in the middle of it all, they're crumbling. Brielle reaches for Alan's hand. He moves it away. You lied to me for months, he says, quietly but firmly. You smiled at me and planned your next rendezvous in the same breath. And I let it happen. Because I trusted you. I didn't mean for it to happen, she says, but it sounds hollow. Of course you did, I whisper. You meant for every kiss, every lie, every night you spent pretending we didn't exist. James exhales. You don't understand. Things between us weren't. Don't I interrupt? Don't rewrite history because it's inconvenient now. You kissed me goodbye knowing you were going to her. You bought her gifts with our money. You made her promises you never had the decency to make to me. And I let it happen. Alan folds his napkin and sets it beside his plate. You both built something on our backs. Now sit with it. Taste it. Let it go cold in front of you like the lies you fed us. I glance over at their plates untouched. Their wine glasses full. This isn't the dinner they wanted, but it's the one they deserve. Then I lean in slightly and say the final line I've been saving for this moment. I wore this dress to remind you, James, that you lost me the day you thought I'd never find out. And you lost her the moment she thought I wasn't brave enough to sit at your table. He swallows hard. Across from me, Brielle blinks furiously. Alan stands. We're done here. I stand with him. James rises too. Rachel, please just wait. We need to talk. I face him. No. You had your chance. I just wanted you to see me walk away. so you'd remember what strength looks like. And then I walk. 1 step, 2. Not out of rage, not even out of grief, but out of a place far more dangerous. Peace. Because nothing unnerves a guilty person more than watching the one they hurt no longer needing to raise their voice. Have you ever looked into the eyes of someone who broke you and felt absolutely nothing but clarity? The cold air outside Belladonna's rushes into my lungs like a second breath I hadn't realized I needed. My heels echo against the pavement as Alan and I walk in silence toward the far end of the parking lot. Neither of us speaks. We don't need to. Behind us, they sit in the ruins of a fantasy they thought they had built in secret. I glance back once. Through the restaurant window, I catch a final glimpse of James still standing, staring toward the door like he expects me to return. Brielle is seated now, hunched slightly, like the dress that was meant to impress has suddenly become too heavy for her to wear. They look smaller now, diminished. Alan breaks the silence first. They didn't see it coming. I shake my head. They never do. It's not just that we were smarter. It's that they assumed we were blind. That we were soft. That our silence meant ignorance. But all along we were just giving them enough rope. We reach my car. I turn to Alan, unsure of what this moment is supposed to feel like. Closure, liberation. Emptiness. Thank you, I say. He looks at me, his expression unreadable. For what? For standing with me in there. For letting them see the truth. His gaze softens. They weren't ready to be seen. I nod. But we were. We part ways with a quiet, shared understanding. No promises. No need for anything more than what we already gave each other courage. On the drive home, I don't cry. Not because I'm not hurt. I am. But because the ache has changed shape. It's no longer wild and sharp. It's dull and deep, the kind of pain that reminds you you've grown stronger from the break. I pull into the driveway and sit for a moment in the dark. The porch light is still on. He left it for me, James always does. As if that small kindness could cancel out months of betrayal. As if I'd see it and forget what I saw on that screen. What I heard at that table. What I felt every night he came home wearing a mask of normal. I walk inside. The house is quiet. He's not home yet, probably lingering somewhere with Brielle trying to piece together a lie they can both live with. But there's nothing left to spin. Their audience has left the room. I pour a glass of water, set my bag down gently on the counter, and open the drawer where I placed the letter days ago. It's still there, sealed, untouched. I leave it on his pillow. I don't pack a bag. Not yet. I want him to find it first. To walk into this house, see my dress gone. My silence settled over the furniture like dust, and realize it's over. That his lies were not clever enough. That I was never too weak. And that the woman he betrayed was the one who orchestrated his greatest humiliation with nothing but grace and silence. The next morning, my daughter returns home from her aunt's. She hugs me like the world hasn't changed. And for her, it hasn't. She doesn't need to know everything. Not yet. Just that her mother stood up. That her mother didn't disappear into the pain like women so often do. That her mother remembered her worth and acted on it. James texts me around noon. Can we talk? I don't respond. He sends another. Then another. I leave my phone on silent and take my daughter to the park. We laugh. We swing. We sit on a bench and eat ice cream like it's any other Saturday. But I know it's not. It's the day after everything broke and somehow I'm still standing. He'll read the letter eventually. He'll know the version of me he betrayed is gone. And I hope every dinner he shares for the rest of his life is haunted by the sound of my heels walking away. If someone took everything from you in silence, would you let them keep it, or would you take it back with your own 3 days pass before I hear the knock on the door? I know it's him before I even open it. There's a kind of hesitation in the knock, a pause between each tap, as if he's already bracing for the answer he's afraid to get. James stands there, hair a mess. Dark circles beneath his eyes. He's holding the letter I left him folded and creased, like it's been clutched all night long. His mouth opens, then closes. I read it, he finally says. I say nothing. Just wait. I deserve everything you wrote. I tilt my head. Do you want to come in? He hesitates. Do you want me to? I step aside, motioning him in. Not because I want to reconcile, far from it, but because closure is a door you sometimes have to hold open just long enough to walk out of it again. He walks into the living room like a stranger, like someone stepping into a memory that no longer belongs to him. "I don't even know where to start," he says, standing awkwardly by the armchair he used to claim like a throne. "You knew. For how long?" "Long enough to let it all sink in." He rubs the back of his neck. "I didn't mean to fall for her. I didn't mean to lose myself in a marriage where I didn't matter." He looks up sharply. Pain flickers across his face. "That's not true." "No, I walked to the kitchen counter, the same one he leaned against while texting her just feet away from me. You lied every day for months. You let me hug you while she was still on your skin. You watched me sleep next to you, kissed our daughter goodnight, and still chose her." "It wasn't about choosing her." I smile bitterly. "You think that makes it better?" He drops into the chair, exhaling hard. "I don't even know who I am anymore. You're the man who bet on my silence and lost." We sit in the quiet for a while. Finally, he says, "At the restaurant, when I saw you sitting next to Alan, it felt like the world stopped. It was meant to. I didn't know what to say." His voice cracks. "You looked powerful." "I was. And I still am." He wipes his face with both hands. "Do you still love me?" The question is so raw it takes me a moment. I don't lie. "I love who you were. Before this. Before her. But I can't love the man who let me disappear in my own home." He nods like he knew the answer before he asked. "She's been calling," he mumbles. "I haven't picked up." "That's between you and your conscience." He looks at me, then really looks and says, "You could have screamed. You could have thrown things. You didn't." I meet his eyes. "I didn't need to scream. I just needed to show you what it looks like when a woman stops begging to be seen and takes her seat at the table." He looks down. "Speaking of seats," I pause, then continue. "You remember that night at Belladonna's? When Brielle ordered the same appetizer I always did when she laughed just a little too loudly." He winces. "I almost got up and said, 'Do you want my seat?' Because it seems you already gave it to her. Rachel." But I didn't. I lean in slightly steady. "Because I realize that seat doesn't belong to either of you anymore. I don't want it. I don't want to sit beside someone who looked me in the eye and lied." Silence again. Thicker this time, heavier. He stands. "So that's it. That's the beginning." He walks to the door, then stops. "I never thought you'd be the one to leave first." "I didn't leave," I say, my voice firm but calm. "You did. I just finally caught up." He opens the door, slowly steps outside, and turns one last time. "For what it's worth, I do see you now." I close the door before I let that land, because it's too late to matter, and because I already saw myself long before he ever did. Have you ever realized too late that the seat you gave away was the one you should have fought to keep a... The strange thing is how normal the world looks the day after your life burns down. Birds still sing. The grocery store still smells like cut flowers and bakery bread. The cashier still asks, "How's your day going?" like nothing monumental has happened. I smile politely and say good, because the truth is too complicated to explain. But something in me has shifted. At home, I eat alone at the dinner table for the first time in weeks. No voices from across the table. No phone face down beside his plate. No forced conversation. Just quiet. The steak I made is going cold on the plate. I chew slowly, deliberately. James used to like his medium rare. I always made it that way out of habit, out of love. Now I leave mine a little more done. Seared. Less soft. Because I'm not trying to please anyone anymore. I hear from Alan later that night. He sends me a simple message. She moved out. I didn't ask her to. She just packed a bag and left. I stare at the screen for a long time before responding, because she knew. "Yeah," he texts. She finally did. "We don't say more. We don't need to." Our story was never really about each other. It was about making sure we didn't go down quietly in someone else's betrayal. A few hours later, I get a message from Brielle. Block number, one sentence. "You didn't have to humiliate me." I sit with it. I don't respond. Because I did have to. Not to destroy her, but to make sure she knew I knew. That I wasn't a fool. that her lipstick stains and lingering glances weren't invisible to the woman who opened her home and baked her muffins for a school fundraiser. What people like her never understand is that the deepest pain doesn't come from being betrayed by a stranger. It comes from the ones who smiled while they did it. I close my phone and return to my meal. The steak is cold, but the truth is still warm. I sip my wine, the same brand we drank at Belladonna's, and remember the way James's hands trembled when he saw me. No screaming, no plates thrown, just silence, just presence. And for them, that was worse. Because how do you argue with dignity? How do you shout down someone who never raised her voice? I walk into the bedroom, pull the comforter up to my chin, and stare at the ceiling. Tomorrow I'll call a lawyer. Tomorrow I'll start talking to a realtor. Tomorrow I'll rebuild. But tonight I rest in the echo of their silence. Because when someone burns your house down with lies, you don't rebuild the same house. You build a castle with fireproof walls. And you fill it with peace. Would you let the people who broke you watch you rebuild without them? Or would you take your time brick by brick, letting them feel every second of what they lost? The first time I cried over James, it was in the laundry room. Our daughter had just spilled juice all over her school uniform, and I was scrubbing the stain out of the tiny collar when I found a receipt in his pocket. Belladonna's, 2 entrees, a bottle of wine. The date didn't match anything I remembered. I cried so hard I couldn't breathe. But I don't cry anymore. Not because I'm healed, because the part of me that mourned him is gone. Now I sit in that same laundry room folding fresh towels. The sun pours through the window and dances across the tile, and the silence doesn't hurt. It doesn't echo anymore. It just is. I haven't heard from him since that day he stood at the doorway and said, "I see you now." Maybe he does, but it's too late. You don't get to see someone only when they're leaving. My daughter asks fewer questions now. She's noticed the changes, the separate rooms, the new routines, the way I no longer wait up for him. Children always know more than we give them credit for. At bedtime, she curls into my side and asks, "Are you okay, Mommy?" I smooth her hair back. I am now. And I mean it. Because the hurt has stopped writing the story. I take long walks again. I call friends I'd drifted away from. I sign up for a pottery class. I open the blinds in rooms I used to keep dark. And sometimes I still catch my reflection and wonder who she is. This woman who wears soft confidence instead of apology. This woman who smiles without permission. There's no dramatic turning point, no single moment where I scream or slam a door. It's quieter than that. It's watching a version of yourself vanish and not missing her. It's realizing you've stepped into the space you used to make smaller for someone else's comfort, and now it fits you perfectly. Brielle sends another message. This one longer. I don't expect forgiveness, but I didn't mean for it to go that far. James made me feel seen, and I thought I loved him. I guess I just didn't care who got hurt along the way. I reread the last line over and over. I didn't care who got hurt, and that's all I need to know. I block the number. Closure doesn't always come with answers. Sometimes it comes with the decision not to need them anymore. Alan texts a photo of a hiking trail he visited that weekend. Alone. The caption "Fresh air" does more than therapy sometimes. I smile. I reply, "Glad you're breathing again. We're not friends. We're not allies. We're just 2 people who survived the same storm and came out drenched but wiser." I donate the dress. Not out of bitterness. Out of freedom. It served its purpose. It told its story. And now I have a new one to write. One where I'm not a background character in someone else's betrayal. One where I'm the lead. If someone shattered your world, but you found a way to walk through the rubble without crying, did you lose, or did you finally begin? The first time I laughed, really honestly laughed, after it all fell apart, it was over something small, a mismatched sock. My daughter had come barreling into the living room, wearing one unicorn sock and one Batman sock, proudly announcing I made my own team. And something about that broke the last bit of ice in me. I laughed so hard I had to sit down. That's how healing starts. Not with fireworks, but with tiny, almost invisible moments when life taps you gently on the shoulder and says, "You're still here." I get the house appraised. The realtor is kind efficient. She doesn't ask questions. She doesn't need to. People walk through homes every day without knowing that the walls once held whispered betrayals and quiet sobs. I start keeping a journal again, not to write about James or Brielle, or even the pain, but about me. What I'm feeling, what I'm craving, what makes me feel alive again. It's strange how unfamiliar I am to myself, like I've been living in someone else's skin for so long that I forgot the texture of my own. But little by little I'm peeling it back. I try new recipes. I rearrange the furniture. I donate boxes of things that no longer reflect the woman I'm becoming. I hang a mirror in the hallway, not for vanity, but because for the first time in a long time, I want to see myself when I walk past. James sends one more message. Weeks have gone by. I signed the papers. I'm sorry. That's all it says. No pleading. No attempts to rewrite what happened. Just a final line. I light a candle. Not to mark the end of our marriage, but to honor the part of me that loved him. She deserved better. She loved with her whole heart, and even though she got broken, she never became bitter. I toast her with a glass of wine. To the woman who stayed soft even when the world tried to make her hard. Alan and I cross paths at a school event. We nod, exchange a brief smile. Our kids are in the same spring play, and we sit on opposite sides of the auditorium. But when our children take the stage, we both stand and clap at the same moment. It feels like a strange kind of victory. Quiet, personal. Later, he catches me near the exit. Funny how life keeps going, he says. Yeah, I nod. It really does. We don't linger, because our connection isn't about holding on. It's about letting go. And as I drive home, my daughter humming in the back seat, I feel something settle in my chest. Not anger, not sadness, just space. Room for new things, new dreams, new beginnings. This house, this life, it's mine now. Every corner of it. I put on music while I cook. I wear robes that feel soft against my skin. I buy flowers on Tuesdays just because I want to. I sit on the porch in the evening with a blanket and a book, and no need for anyone to fill the silence, because the silence no longer frightens me. It comforts me. I'm not who I was before, but I'm someone I like, and that after everything is enough. What if healing wasn't about returning to who you were, but finally meeting the woman you were always meant to become? The envelope arrives on a quiet Monday, tucked between a coupon flyer and a dental reminder card. Handwritten. No return address. But I recognize the handwriting instantly. Brielle. I stand in the kitchen, fingers hesitating just over the edge of the flap. I could throw it away. I could tear it up without reading a single word. But something stops me. Not curiosity, closure. I open it. Inside, a single sheet of paper written in slanted, looping script. Rachel, I know I'm the last person you want to hear from. I don't deserve a response, and I won't pretend that an apology will fix anything. But I need you to know I lost everything. Alan left. My kids are confused. My parents are ashamed. And I can't sleep at night without replaying what I did to you. I was selfish. I was weak. I thought I could have both his affection and your kindness. And when you showed up at that restaurant, part of me hated you not because you humiliated me, but because you didn't fall apart. You stood there, graceful, whole. I saw myself through your eyes that night, and I haven't been able to look at myself the same way since. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I just wanted you to know you won, not in revenge, but in strength, in dignity. You walked away, and I'm still trying to figure out how you did that without burning the place down. I fold the letter slowly, not out of anger, not out of hurt, but because it's done. She still doesn't understand I didn't win. There was no victory dance, no secret celebration, just the quiet strength of a woman who decided she would no longer shrink herself for someone else's lies. I place the letter in the drawer beside my journal, not to keep the memory alive, but to remind myself that even the ones who broke us can still be haunted by our healing. That evening, I light another candle. Not to mark an ending, but because I want the house to smell like something new. I tuck my daughter into bed. She wraps her arms around my neck, giggling about something her teacher said at school. I kiss her forehead, inhale the soft scent of shampoo, and close my eyes. This is my life now. Uncomplicated, honest, whole. I don't miss the lies. I don't miss the chaos. And for the first time in years, I'm not waiting for the other shoe to drop. Because there are no more shoes. Just bare feet on clean floors. Just quiet mornings and peaceful nights. Just me. And that's enough. Have you ever walked through fire just to find out you were the flame all along? So here we are. The dinner is over. The dress is hung. The silence, no longer heavy, rests gently on my shoulders, like a warm shawl instead of a chain. When people talk about heartbreak, they focus on the loud parts, the screaming, the crying, the final blow. But I've learned that healing doesn't come with thunder. It comes in whispers. In the way the morning sun filters through clean curtains. In the sound of your own laughter caught off guard. In that moment when you realize you're no longer waiting for an apology. Life didn't return to what it was before. It grew something new in the ashes. And maybe that's the point. We aren't meant to rebuild exactly what was taken from us. We're meant to reimagine, to soften where we once braced, to bloom where we once broke. James became a ghost. One of those names you hear in passing and feel nothing about. Brielle. Just a lesson in disguise. And Alan, wherever he is now, I hope he found his version of peace too. Sometimes the people who destroy your world don't know they're handing you the blueprint to rebuild it stronger. I don't need revenge. I don't need regret. I just need mornings like this, slow, golden, untouched by lies. My daughter still leaves mismatched socks on the floor. I still make too much coffee. The world keeps spinning, but now I'm the one choosing how to move through it. And if you're standing in the middle of heartbreak, if you're holding your pain in both hands and wondering how to go on, please believe me when I say, there is life on the other side of this. There is light and love and laughter. And above all else, there is you.